a funny experience last night I want to tell you about. I finished doing a live of my own, then I hopped on someone else's live, a TBM who many of you know as the guy who had a specific list of every single ex-Mormon thought leader, and I am still offended that I was not on his list. But anyway, it was funny to see how physically excited he got that I was there. Like, he reflexively puffed up his feathers a little bit in defense at my mere presence. And I was just sitting there like, oh, I had no idea you felt like that about me. But anyway, I started pushing back. As I do. Someone brought up the origin of the Book of Mormon, and I just suggested Lars Nielsen's new book, How the Book of Mormon Came to Pass, which, side note, if you don't know about, is going to change everything with what we know about the Book of Mormon. You'll either love or hate his writing style, but the information in that book will blow your mind. I'm so excited to see what it does. But anyway, if you know this guy, you know that he has a response to everything. And so, of course, he had something to say about this brand new book. He called it absolute garbage. He used that phrase several times. And he knows it's garbage because he's read it. And by it, I mean the free preview on Kindle. So now he knows everything he needs to know about this book. Just ask him. I told him, no, you need to actually read the book. You obviously don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't make the main point of the book in the first chapter. But someone else brought up the Solomon Spaulding theory of the origin of the Book of Mormon, and he jumped on that. Oh, if he's resurrecting that debunked theory, then obviously it's garbage. I told him, no, the book does address that, and you're on the right track. You need to read the book. And guys, that's all it took. He immediately had something else he needed to do, and he ended the live just like that. It was midnight. At least in Utah, it was midnight. He didn't say he needed to go to bed. He suddenly had something else he needed to do. Right. But it got me thinking, what type of person within Mormondom is the most disingenuous, the most intellectually dishonest? It's not your typical TBM. It's not an ex-Mormon. It's not a TBM in an ex-Mormon space. No, it's, in my opinion, a TBM who claims to have had a faith crisis, usually over a period of years, as this individual claims, only then to see the error of their ways and repent. Maybe they started reading the Book of Mormon more, or praying more, or serving others more, and like the prodigal son, they returned and repented. And now they are the ones who dare venture forth into these scary ex-Mormon spaces, into this dangerous anti-Mormon literature, so then they can return and report to their faithful, believing comrades. They now have an answer for everything, because they've been there. They know what it's like to be deceived, and then repent. But most watching this know that there are some things you just can't unlearn. You can't put the toothpaste back into the tube. But most TBMs don't know that yet. It makes me think of James Strang. He was the one who had the second largest following, second to Brigham Young after the deaths of Joseph and Hiram. Did James Strang really believe he was a prophet of God? Hell no. Did he believe Joseph Smith was a prophet of God? Also no. No, he watched Joseph Smith and he saw what made him successful, what made others fawn over him and eagerly await God to tell them what he wanted them to know through him. He was jealous of that, so he copied it. And he did so a little too well, maybe, because he ultimately ended up meeting the same ending that Joseph did. But there have been James Strangs in the church ever since. Those who are willing to take advantage of others' goodness, their naivete, their desire to draw closer to their higher power. So they stay in these believing spaces mostly, where they can receive this praise that they so crave. And when ex-Mormons like myself push back, they get blocked, or they end the conversation somehow, for which they receive more praise from their believing comrades, and they do it partially for that, but also because they know that they're on a two-legged stool. They can't take much pushback or else they'll tip over. Contrast that now to what I do. I love a good, honest debate. I love it when others can show me how I'm wrong, because that's like showing me a new door that I didn't even know existed. There's a whole room here I can now explore. I love comments critical of my content if they're respectful and if they actually have a point. You know who I do block? It's those who come into my comments saying, "You're wrong," or "You're lying." Great, I say. Where am I lying? How am I wrong? If they won't back down on saying that I'm wrong, but they can't say how, That drives me bonkers. I block them. They're not even on a two-legged stool. They know that they don't even have a leg to stand on, so they won't bring up anything specific. Anyway, all this to say, keep up the good fight. Keep learning. Keep pushing back. Keep challenging yourself and others. Keep opening up new doors.